James Carter froze mid-stride outside his sleek office in Chicago's Loop, his polished shoes rooted to the pavement. A titan of real estate, he owned a penthouse with Lake Michigan views and a collection of rare motorcycles. But a hollow ache lingered, a shadow of his college love, Rachel Thompson, the woman he'd abandoned for ambition. Her memory was a quiet sting, a reminder of the life he'd traded for power. He was steps from his car when he saw her, a girl, barely 7, at a folding table by the CTA stop. Her sign read, "Homemade cookies, $1.00, help my grandma." Lily Johnson, she introduced herself, her green eyes catching his, hauntingly familiar, like his own reflected back. Something about her halted him. "What's the money for?" James asked, crouching despite his designer suit. "My grandma Helen," Lily said, her voice soft but firm. "She's sick and medicine's expensive." Her words struck deep. James knew that struggle. Scraping by as a kid until his Uncle Thomas took him under his wing, shaping him into the mogul he'd become. He handed her a stack of cash. "I'll buy everything." Lily's eyes sparkled, but as she tucked the money into her apron, a faded photo fell out, landing face up. James picked it up and his breath caught. It was him, younger, grinning, arm around Rachel, the woman he hadn't seen since he chose a Dubai deal over her. "That's my daddy," Lily said, reclaiming the photo. "Mommy said he's far away. She's gone now, but she said he was good." James's chest tightened. Rachel? Dead? And this girl? His daughter? He managed to smile. "You take good care of that picture." Lily nodded. "Grandma doesn't know I keep it. She says it makes her sad." He stood, the loop's bustle fading. "Keep the change, Lily," he said, voice rough. Her eyes, his eyes, seared into him as he walked away, each step heavier. Rachel had a daughter. Lily's father was far away. The possibility hit like a freight train. In his penthouse, James poured a bourbon, the city's lights mocking his unease. He hadn't thought of Rachel in years, not since he'd left, urged by Thomas to chase success over love. She'd been an art major, all fire and ideals, sketching under campus elms while he studied markets. They'd dreamed of a life, simple, chaotic, theirs, until Thomas's voice won out. "She'll hold you back." So he left. No farewell, just a note he never followed up on. Now Lily's face haunted him. Those eyes, that photo. Could she be his? He searched Rachel Thompson, Chicago, on his laptop, hands unsteady. An obituary appeared first. Rachel had died of cancer, leaving a daughter, Lily Johnson, and her mother, Helen. No father listed. His gut twisted. Had Rachel tried to reach him? Had she raised their child alone? Lily's words echoed. Medicine's expensive. Helen, ill, juggling jobs for treatment. James knew that grind. His own mother had died young, uninsured. The system devoured people like Helen and Lily while he dined in towers. The guilt, mixed with Rachel's memory, burned. He'd built a fortune, but at what cost? He called his assistant. "Find everything on Helen and Lily Johnson, Logan Square." Quietly. Then he stared at Lily's table in a photo he'd snapped, her neat handwriting on the sign. She was fighting for her grandmother in a world that didn't care. James could change that, but first he needed truth. Was Lily his? And had Thomas known more than he'd let on? His grip tightened on his glass. Tomorrow he'd find her again. Tomorrow, he'd dig for answers. James barely slept, Lily's green eyes and that worn photo etched in his mind. His penthouse felt like a prison, its luxury a stark contrast to Lily and Helen's reality. He needed to know why Rachel never told him, or if she'd tried. The thought that Thomas, his uncle and guide, had interfered gnawed at him. He called his assistant again. "Check for any trace of Rachel Thompson contacting me. Calls, letters, anything?" Then he drove to Logan Square, a gritty neighborhood far from the Loop's shine. Helen and Lily lived in a weathered building, its stairs creaking, its halls dim. He buzzed their apartment. No response. As he turned to leave, a neighbor, an elderly woman with wary eyes, opened her door. "You here for Helen Johnson?" Yeah, I met her granddaughter, Lily, yesterday. Just want to talk. She eyed him. Helen's at the doctor. Lily's at school. They don't need trouble. No trouble, James said, voice low. I knew Lily's mom, Rachel. I want to help. The neighbor nodded slowly. 3rd floor, 3C. Helen's back soon. Don't make me regret this. The stairwell reeked of damp wood, the walls scratched with old tags. Helen answered his knock, her face worn, her eyes sharp despite exhaustion. She wore a faded sweater, clutching a frayed purse. You're the guy who bought Lily's cookies, she said, guarded. What do you want? I knew Rachel, James said, the words heavy. I saw Lily's photo. I think I might be her father. Helen's jaw tightened, but something flickered in her gaze. Pain, maybe recognition. You're James Carter. Rachel's James. She stepped aside. Come in. Don't expect me to roll out a red carpet. The apartment was cramped, filled with Rachel's art. Sketches, photos, a life preserved. A picture of her cradling baby Lily sat on a shelf, her smile radiant despite her weariness. James's throat caught. She was incredible, he said, voice low. She was my world, Helen said sharply, then softened. Sit. You've got 5 minutes to explain why you're here now. James sank onto a worn couch. I loved Rachel. We were together in college, but I left for a job in Dubai. I didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't know about Lily until yesterday. Helen's eyes narrowed. You left her. No word, no call? She was heartbroken, but she didn't chase. That wasn't her. Guilt clawed at James. I was young, dumb. Thomas pushed me to prioritize work. I thought I was making the right call. He hesitated. Did she try to contact me? Helen paused, then pulled a sketchbook from a shelf, opening it to reveal a folded letter. Rachel wrote this after you left. Never sent it. She didn't want to weigh you down. James unfolded it, hands shaking. Rachel's script, bold and graceful, formed a poem. You chased the sky, not me. / I'll carry our flame alone. / a spark you'll never know. The final lines broke him. If you find her, love her for us both. Tears stung his eyes. Rachel had known about Lily, had carried their child, and still forgave him in her way. I didn't know, he whispered. I'd have come back, Helen. I swear. Helen's face eased slightly. She called your office? Sent letters? Someone always said you were busy. She gave up after a year, said you'd chosen your path. James's jaw clenched. Thomas. His uncle had managed his cause, his mail, his life. Had he buried Rachel's attempts? The betrayal stung, but he swallowed it. I want to help Lily and you. Medical bills, anything. Helen stiffened. We don't need handouts. I've worked my whole life, sick or not. Lily's all I have of Rachel. I won't let you play savior. I'm not playing, James said, holding her gaze. I want to know her. If she's mine, I want to be her dad. Helen studied him, then sighed. Lily's at school till 3. Come back then. But if you hurt her, James Carter, you'll deal with me. He nodded, standing. Thank you, Helen. As he left, Rachel's poem echoed. Love her for us both. Rachel had raised their daughter alone while he built a hollow empire. Outside, the city churned, uncaring. He had a daughter, or might, and a past to unravel, starting with Thomas. James left Helen's apartment, Rachel's poem a weight in his chest. The words, love her for us both, were both a plea and a call to be the man he'd failed to be. Back in the loop, his office buzzed, deals pending, emails piling, but it felt empty. Lily's face, her green eyes, her quiet courage, had rewritten his priorities. He needed to protect her, but first, he needed proof. He arranged a private DNA test using a strand of Lily's hair from her table, kept instinctively. The lab promised results soon, but the wait was agony. That afternoon, he returned to Logan Square. Lily was home, her backpack heavy with books, her smile bright. You're back, she said, hugging him. Grandma said you might come. Helen watched, her expression softer but cautious. "She likes you," she said quietly. "Don't let her down." James knelt to Lily's level. "What's in that bag? Looks like it's gonna burst." "Books," Lily said, pulling out tattered novels. "Mommy loves stories. I want to read them all." Her pride, so like Rachel's, hit hard. James glanced at Helen, who nodded, allowing him to stay. They sat at the kitchen table, Lily talking about school while James helped with her spelling. Her sharp mind impressed him. She caught words faster than most. "You're a natural," he said, tapping her notebook. "Ever thought about being a writer?" "Maybe," Lily said, beaming. "Or an artist like Mommy. She said stories and pictures show what's real." Her words, echoing Rachel, pierced him. He wanted to say, "I'm your dad," but Helen's caution held him back. Lily deserved truth, carefully given. Over the next week, James wove himself into Lily's life. He took her to the Art Institute, where she gushed over Monet's colors, calling them like dreams. They ate pretzels from a vendor, Lily laughing as salt stuck to her fingers. He learned her habits, how she twirled her hair when shy, how she loved sunsets but feared storms. Each moment solidified his belief. She was his, DNA or not. Behind the scenes, he contacted a specialist for Helen's case. Her heart condition was worsening, her insurance thin. James offered to pay, but Helen refused. "I've survived without charity," she said, eyes fierce. "You want to help? Be here for Lily, not your wallet." Her pride, forged in a world that favored the rich, humbled him. He saw the inequity now. People like Helen and Lily were ghosts to his old world. But not everyone supported his shift. Thomas called, voice sharp. "You skipped the London pitch. Clients are talking, James." "What's this about a kid in Logan Square?" James gripped his phone. "Her name's Lily. I'm helping her family." "Helping?" Thomas scoffed. "Sounds like a con. Sick grandma, poor kid, textbook sob story. You're better than this." "She's not a con," James snapped. "She might be my daughter." A pause, then a cold chuckle. "Your daughter? Based on a photo? You're risking everything we've built. The board's watching." "I'll handle the board," James said, hanging up. Thomas's doubt only strengthened his resolve. He hired a decorator to redo a room in his penthouse for Lily. Green walls, sunset murals, a shelf for her books. It wasn't charity, it was a vow, a place for her in his life. One evening, after helping Lily with vocabulary, she showed him a notebook. "I drew this," she said, shyly offering a sketch. It showed 3 stick figures, her, Helen, and a man with green eyes, under a cloud labeled Daddy. Above, a sunset glowed. "That's you, sorta," she said. "You're kind. Like Mommy said my daddy would be." James's throat closed. He hugged her, careful not to smudge the paper. "I'll keep this forever, Lily." Her trust broke and rebuilt something in him. He looked at Helen, who watched quietly, her eyes warmer. "You're doing all right," she murmured. A reluctant nod. Driving home, the sketch on his seat, James felt Rachel's presence in Lily's every move. He'd failed Rachel, but he wouldn't fail their daughter. The DNA results were coming, and with them a choice: claim Lily fully or lose her to his past's shadows. Thomas's warnings lingered, but Lily's smile outweighed them all. The DNA results hit James's desk like a gavel. 99.999% probability Lily was his daughter. He stared at the paper, relief and dread intertwining. She was his, a truth he'd felt, but now held in ink. Yet the weight of those lost years, of Rachel's struggle, crushed him. He wanted to tell Lily everything, but Helen's warning echoed, slowly, for her sake. He locked the report away, vowing to earn her trust first. James leaned harder into Lily's life, making time for homework nights and weekend trips. They visited the Field Museum, where Lily's eyes lit up at dinosaur bones, her questions endless. "Do stars ever stop burning?" she asked, holding his hand. "Never," James said, voice catching. "They shine forever, like you." Her laugh warmed him, but the joy was fleeting. Helen's health was fading, Her treatments drained her and bills mounted. James arranged for a top cardiologist to take her case, paying anonymously through a foundation to dodge her pride. Helen suspected but stayed quiet, her silence a tentative peace. Thomas's pressure grew. He stormed into James's office, face taut with rage. "You're tanking decades of work," he said, slapping a market report down. "Stock's down 6% because you're playing dad to some kid. The board's restless." "Her name's Lily," James said, voice firm. "She's my daughter." "I'm not abandoning her." Thomas's eyes narrowed. "No proof. This is a delusion, James. A poor kid with a sad tale doesn't belong in our world. You're risking my legacy." "Your legacy?" James stood, anger rising. "You mean the one built on control? Did you know about Lily? Did you block Rachel's messages?" Thomas's face flickered. Guilt, perhaps, but he sidestepped. "You were a dreamer. I saved you from ruin. Don't destroy it now." He left, but his words sowed doubt. Had Thomas known? James's assistant was still searching old records, but answers were scarce. Then, tragedy struck. After a warm evening at James's penthouse where Lily sipped lemonade and read from Rachel's favorite novel, she woke up sick, feverish, shaking, her small frame racked with nausea. James rushed her to the hospital, Helen beside him, her face pale with fear. "She was fine last night," Helen whispered, clutching Lily's hand. The doctor's report was a blow, traces of a sedative in Lily's system, a drug unsafe for children. James' mind spun. Lily hadn't taken anything. He ordered tests on his kitchen's contents, dread growing. His security team found the answer. Footage showed Thomas, during a quick visit to deliver files, lingering in the kitchen. He'd opened the lemonade pitcher, his movements careful, adding something. James watched, rage boiling. His uncle, the man who'd raised him, had poisoned his daughter. He confronted Thomas at his Gold Coast condo, the city's glow a cruel backdrop. "Why?" James demanded, thrusting the footage stills forward. "She's a child. Thomas didn't blink. "You're blind, James. That girl's a burden. Her mother was nothing, and now she's dragging you down. A small scare was meant to snap you out of it, show you she doesn't belong." "You could have killed her," James roared, fists tight. "All to save your damn legacy?" "Not just mine," Thomas said, voice icy. "Ours. I built this for you, but you're throwing it away for a kid who'll never fit. I stopped Rachel's letters for the same reason. She'd have ruined you." The admission cut deep. "You knew about Lily," James said, voice low, lethal. "You hid her from me." "You weren't ready," Thomas said unapologetically. "You're still not." James turned away, disgust choking him. "You're finished, Thomas. I'm exposing you to the board, the police, everyone." Thomas's laugh was bitter. "Go ahead, ruin the company. You'll lose more than me." At the hospital, Lily was stabilizing, her color returning. She reached for James's hand, voice faint. "I was scared, Uncle James. Don't go, okay?" "Never," he promised, tears burning. Helen watched, eyes wet. "You're here," she said softly. "That's what counts." But James's resolve solidified. Thomas's betrayal wasn't just personal. It reflected a world that crushed people like Lily and Helen, discarding them for profit. He'd protect his daughter, but he'd also fight the system that let Helen struggle, that let Rachel die without care. The cost would be high, his career, his name, but Lily's hand in his was worth it all. Lily's recovery brought a tentative calm, but James's world was unraveling. The hospital room, with its stark walls and steady beeps, felt like a forge where his old self melted away. Holding Lily's hand as she slept, her fingers small but strong, he knew he couldn't go back. Thomas's actions, poisoning his daughter, hiding Rachel's letters, revealed a deeper rot in the system James had mastered, one that prized wealth over lives like Lily and Helen's. He had to act, no matter the price. He began with the truth. At the board meeting, James faced the executive's voice steady. "Thomas Harrison poisoned my daughter," he said, playing the security footage. Murmurs spread as Thomas's deliberate actions unfolded. He also concealed my daughter's existence, blocking her mother's attempts to reach me. He presented the evidence, medical reports, DNA results, old call logs of Rachel's rejected efforts. I won't shield him. He's done. The room exploded, some calling for Thomas's arrest, others fretting over fallout. This will crash our stock, one exec warned. Investors will bolt. James nodded, resolute. So be it. I won't let a man who harms kids run this company. By evening, Thomas was ousted, his shares locked pending investigation. But the damage spread. Headlines screamed, stocks sank, and whispers of James's obsession grew. He didn't flinch. Lily was home, sketching at Helen's table, her laughter a lifeline. But the company wobbled, endangering jobs for workers who, like Helen, lived on the edge. James made a choice. He faced the board again, decision firm. I'm stepping down, he said. Name David Patel as CEO. He's ready, and he'll steady the ship. I'll take the blame, not the employees. The board agreed, but the cost was brutal. His reputation, his wealth, his identity as Chicago's real estate titan. James sold his penthouse, trading Lake Michigan vistas for a cozy house in Logan Square near Helen and Lily. The move felt true, rooted in a community that echoed his own rough start. He filed adoption papers, working with Helen to ease Lily's transition. Helen, seeing his sacrifice, gave her approval. Your family now, she said, voice warm. Rachel would have been glad. But James wanted more than family, he wanted justice. Inspired by Helen's fight and Rachel's vision of equity, he launched a fundraiser at Grant Park, rallying businesses to fund free clinics for low-income families. On a simple stage, he spoke, Lily beside him. My daughter and her grandmother showed me what's real, he said, voice breaking. No one should choose between medicine and rent. Help us fix. The event raised thousands, igniting a citywide push for healthcare reform. Lily grinned, squeezing his hand, her faith in him absolute. One night, as they settled into the new house, Lily tugged his sleeve. Uncle James, I made this. She handed him a woven bracelet, dyed green like her favorite sunsets. It'll keep you safe, like you keep me safe. James slipped it on, eyes misting. This beats any watch, he said, hugging her. Later, Helen shared a memory over coffee. Rachel used to dream of a world where everyone's seen, she said. She'd say, James could do it, if he remembered his heart. She never lost faith in you. The words landed hard. Rachel's belief, despite his betrayal, drove him. He took a job as a freelance real estate consultant, working from home to be there for Lily's school runs and Helen's appointments. Their routine, mornings with lumpy oatmeal, evenings with Rachel's novels, felt like the life he'd always needed. But scars lingered. Thomas's trial loomed, and James grappled with his uncle's betrayal. He found a note from Rachel's sketchbook, tucked in a box Helen gave him. If James finds our girl, it read, tell him to fight for her, not just with money, but with his soul. He held it, tears falling. Rachel's love had led him to Lily, and now it pushed him to fight for others. As Lily slept, her bracelet on his wrist, James looked out at Logan Square's quiet streets. He'd lost an empire, but found a purpose. The fundraiser was a spark. Chicago's overlooked deserved more, and he'd dedicate his life to it. For Lily, for Rachel, for the city that shaped them. James stood at Rachel's grave in Rose Hill Cemetery, the air thick with the scent of pine and wet grass. Lily held a bundle of daisies, Rachel's favorite, her small hands steady as she placed them on the headstone. Helen leaned on her cane, eyes soft but distant. The moment was hushed, a bridge to the woman who'd tied them together. James knelt, tracing Rachel's name, his heart a mix of love and loss. Lily's bracelet, still on his wrist, felt like a vow to the family he'd nearly missed. Mommy loved flowers, Lily said, voice soft. She pulled a folded paper from her pocket, a letter in her neat cursive. I told her about you, Uncle James. How you're here now. She tucked it under the daisies, eyes shining. I said thank you for sending you. James's throat caught. He hugged Lily close, her warmth anchoring him. She's always with you, kiddo, and she's so proud. He glanced at Helen, who nodded, their shared grief and bond unspoken. They stayed, the cemetery's quiet wrapping them in peace. James read a poem from Rachel's sketchbook, found in Helen's box. In every sunset, a story burns. / hold fast to love, it always returns. His voice cracked, Rachel's words a link between then and now. Back in Logan Square, life found a rhythm. Messy, but theirs. James drove Lily to school, managed Helen's meds, and worked late on community plans. The fundraiser's success launched a new goal, a free clinic in Lily's name, set to open soon. It was his pledge to Rachel's dream, a stand against the inequity that had left Helen fighting and Rachel without care. Lily, inspired, started a kindness crew at school, teaching kids to help others, like Mommy wanted, she said, her resolve humbling James. But shadows remained. Thomas's trial was ongoing, his betrayal a lingering wound. One evening, a letter arrived, Thomas's handwriting stark. "I was wrong," it read. "I thought I was saving you, but I broke what mattered. I don't expect forgiveness, just know I'm sorry." James stared, anger clashing with sorrow. Thomas lived alone now, his empire dust, his legacy regret. James didn't respond. Some wounds couldn't heal, but he kept the letter, a reminder of greed's cost. He found peace in Lily's light. One night, on their porch, she showed him a new sketch, a family under a sunset sky. Her, Helen, James, and Rachel as a glowing figure above. Around them were other kids, labeled "Friends Who Need Us." "This is us," Lily said, pointing. "And them, they're who will help, right?" James nodded, chest tight. "Right, kiddo, all of them." Her vision, so clear, echoed Rachel's hope. Lily leaned against him, yawning. "I want to be an artist like Mommy, to show people how to care." "You will," James said, kissing her forehead, "and I'll be there, rooting for you." As she dozed, he carried her to bed, her sketch in her hand. Helen met him in the hall, eyes warm. "You're doing right by her," she said, "and by Rachel." Alone, James sat with Rachel's sketchbook, rereading her words, "Fight for her with your soul." He'd lost his status, his wealth, but gained a mission. The clinic, Lily's crew, the community he was building, they were his redemption, his way of honoring Rachel's love. Chicago's inequities loomed, but he'd tackle them, one step at a time, for Lily's future and every kid like her. The sunset outside glowed, steady. As Lily had asked at the museum, James touched her bracelet, its green threads worn but resilient. He wasn't the man who'd left Rachel, nor the mogul who'd ruled the loop. He was Lily's dad, Helen's son, Rachel's partner, in spirit. And that was enough. The sketch on his desk, Lily's dream of a kinder world, held his promise to keep fighting, to keep loving, to ensure no one was forgotten. But James's journey didn't end with personal redemption. He realized that saving Lily and honoring Rachel meant rewriting the rules of the city he'd once dominated. Inspired by Lily's kindness crew, he founded a nonprofit, Rachel's Light, dedicated to mentoring kids in underserved neighborhoods. The program paired professionals with students, teaching skills from coding to art, giving them paths out of poverty. Lily, now 8, became its unofficial ambassador, her sketches decorating the office walls, her story inspiring donors. He also lobbied City Hall, pushing for policies to cap medical debt and fund community health centers. At a council meeting he spoke, Lily's bracelet on his wrist. "I was part of the system that let people like my daughter and her grandmother slip through," he said. "We can do better. Chicago deserves it." His words, raw and honest, swayed votes, securing funding for 2 new clinics. One evening, as James and Lily painted signs for the nonprofit's first gala, she looked up, eyes serious. "Uncle James, do you think Mommy's happy with us?" He paused, paintbrush still. "I know she is, kiddo. You're making the world she dreamed of." Lily smiled, returning to her work, her small hands steady with purpose. Years later, at the opening of the Lily Johnson Clinic, James stood before a crowd, Helen at his side, now healthier thanks to treatment. Lily, taller now, cut the ribbon, her green eyes shining. "This is for my mom," she said, voice clear, "and for everyone who needs help." The crowd cheered, But James's eyes were on Lily, his heart full. Rachel's love had rebuilt him, and through Lily, it was rebuilding Chicago.